Hello, this is a practice video for Baba Yetu at 11, and we're going to work between 11 and 19. So this is where the rhythmic pattern in the piece shifts a little, and it's not quite as predictable as it is like at a place like 3 or 19 or 51. So let's first make sure we understand the counting of a couple different measures. If we understand what's going on in measure 11, we can transfer that information into a bunch of other measures. It's this dotted eighth note and the tie that we have to address there, and then measure 13 because it's extended syncopation, which is a little confusing. So 11 first, right? Again, we're finding a home for every number E and an A in this measure. That's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, because we're in 4/4 time. All right, so we look at 11, the first measure. That first marking is an eighth rest, which is obviously has 2 16ths in it, so that's going to be 1 E, right? And then the next two eighth notes and A, and then the next one is tied in, so it's 2, but you don't clap it, and then E and A, 3 E and A, and that ties into the next eighth note, which makes it 4, and then, sorry, it's the next 16th note, and then it goes into a dotted eighth, E and A, right? Because the dotted eighth has 3 16ths in it, right? The eighth itself has 2 16ths, and then the dot is worth half of the eighth note it belongs to, which adds the third 16th note. So 11 in slow motion is this: 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. That's the rhythm there. Same rhythm in measure 12. Now, things shift in measure 13. This is a little tricky, so let's go through this. Again, if we stay true to labeling every 16th in the measure, it's not that tricky. So, first eighth rest, 1 E. And then the next 2 16ths, and A. It ties into the 16th, so that becomes 2. You say it, you don't clap it. Then the next eighth note is E and then the 16th tied to a 16th becomes A, 3 tied in, and then E and on the A, back to a C, A, 4 E. Now the 4 E is for the eighth note C, and then the B flat to A, and A. So just label that if you're confused, right? I just go back, I just labeled each note in measure 13, write in the labels, and you'll start to get used to that if you need it. Okay, now we're going to clap and count it very slowly at 13. 4 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A, 1. I went into the next measure as like a bonus. Okay? So go back over that if you need it, but that's measure 13. Looking through, there was one other I want to check into, and that is measure 17. Okay, so 17. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a twist here. Let's do that. 17 into 18. So the labeling, again, pretty straight ahead. 1 E and A, right, ties in 2 and then 16th E and then eighth note and A, eighth rest, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Okay, that's that measure. The next measure, write these in if you need them. It goes, this is measure 18 now. 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. That's that. All right, 11 to 19. Let's clap and count it together. Okay? So what I suggest before this, isolate on 13, get that secure, get 18 and 19 secure. Make sure you have 11 down, and then a lot of the rest of it will just naturally happen. 15 is a little bit quirky because there's that eighth rest in the middle of the measure, but you can figure that out. All right, so let's do it together. We're at 11, clap and count. 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and all right. So I suggest you go back over that until you're comfortable clapping and counting it. You can slow it down if you need to, of course, but that's that for the clapping and counting. Let's pluck and count it. Let's slow it down a little more. I'm going to bring a metronome in on the scene. So let's try it at 40. Yeah, that's good. Here we go. 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and okay. So use that as you need to as well. Go back, you can slow it down, you can speed it up to get really comfortable. The shift is, we don't need to spend a lot of time on the left hand here, right? It goes, that measure 16, it goes into second position. 1 on the F, X2 on the G, 4 on the A, and then it just plays around there. That's all, okay? Now, we hover bone count. Here we go. Measure 11. 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and all right, and let's bow it together. Again, change speeds as you need to. Here we are at 11. 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and all right. Happy practicing.